Gregory, can you give me some predictions for the next few years?
Sure. So I predict in our space, which has been social media monitoring, is typically how our space is described. There's been a bifurcation. There'll continue to be a bifurcation between these monitoring tools that people use to respond and engage, see what's going on, and analytics and true analytics or intelligence products. And we live on the side of the analytics platform, and that's been our focus. That's what our technology's been doing back since it was originally invented in 2003. So our core focus is taking this data and turning it into intelligence, into actionable decisions for marketing people, communications people, but it really expands throughout the business now. Anyone that really needs to have a better understanding of their customer so they can make better product and marketing decisions is going to use this kind of data. So we see social intelligence, as we're calling it, growing as an industry, almost like BI, business intelligence did, where you need a platform, you need a standard way to measure everything across your different business units. Agencies have all taken this in, and they're using this data for everything that they're doing. So the next step is to get it fully owned by the customer, where they take this data and own social intelligence just like they would their sales data, because it's information about their marketplace, about their customer, and they need to use it in that way. And when that happens, we think that traditional research will not go away, but it'll decrease in size, and it'll be more targeted. It'll be more efficient. You'll survey when you need to, because you'll have a better real-time sense of what's going on using social intelligence.
You had talked about monitoring the amount of likes on Facebook, for example. How relevant is the number of likes? Is that an important metric? And, does it really reflect anything?
Sure. It's amazing how much attention companies are paying to the number of fans they have on Facebook these days,
That's
and the number of
why I asked.
followers they have on Twitter. They pay such a large amount of attention to it. That's mostly how they're measuring whether their social campaigns are working or not. And so the tools in social media management that are growing are really the ones that help them create more fans and create more follows. And it's not in standalone. It is important, but it's not the only thing to look at. There are people that are very valuable fans and followers that are going to create more of a viral positive effect for your products. And then there are people that are just very passive. They just happen to like it because their friends did, and they're just going down a stream of things. And you expose 1 million people to it, and the 1 million people are, a certain percentage are going to respond. So a big part of what social media has been to date has been about promotion. And when you're using it for intelligence, you do need to filter out certain things like what you're saying. This is one part of the equation. Fans and likes are one part of the equation. Followers, but we look at other things. We look at what are they saying. When they say a certain amount of discussion is much more, requires a more commitment to the product, commitment to the brand, the television show, whatever it is. They care about it more if they're going to start writing about it. They want their friends to see it. They want their voice to be heard on this issue. So that's a much more significant way to voice your opinion than simply liking and following. So analytics goes well beyond that. It's one piece of the equation, though, that we've had.
What would you say are the most important and relevant points of data that you collect that could really give insight?
I would say, the three main things we do are look at sentiment, volume, and media value. Those are our three high-level things which measure perception in an aggregate sense over time, almost like a stock ticker. Volume, which is more than just keyword counting. Again, our system's more accurate. And media value, which is a measure of exposure. Now, in the absolute sense, they're valuable, but we look at it in a relative sense. So any daily change in one of these three metrics generally gives you a signal, and you always need to compare it to your marketplace, to your competitors, to whatever else is going on, and you got to put it in context. So we think the signals, those high-level signals, are the most valuable things to look at. And then when something's happening, you need to drill down. You need to understand why. Well, what's associated with this drop in sentiment? What's causing this? Let me get to the root of it. Who are the people that are causing it? Anything happening with my audience? So I think, from a quantitative standpoint, we use those signals at a high level, and those are the most valuable to look at. From a more qualitative sense, we're able to do things like trending topics from a specific audience. So if you want to segment sports fans because that's your market, or you want to segment, people that are into fashion because that's your market, you want to know what those people are talking about. So we do things like trending topics because we measure what everyone's speaking about, not just keyword-based search. We're able to bubble up what millions of fashion fans are speaking about on a daily basis. So from a qualitative perspective, that makes marketing and content and products relevant. From a quantitative standpoint, again, we like to look at the high-level sentiment, volume, and media value signals.
It sounds like you're gathering data passively. Is there any opportunity to insert questions or to get more actively involved in the conversation to retrieve certain insights that might not be expressed otherwise?
We don't do that personally. As a company, General Sentiment doesn't do that, but we work with strategic partners of all kinds that make it their business to insert. So agencies, of course, are trying to make all messaging and marketing and products interactive. Facebook pages are trying to draw in people and delivering surveys, asking questions. We worked with one company a little while back called Snap Tags, where you watch a TV show, you snap an image. I think Bud Light's doing it right now. And so it was creating a response. So yes, we are passive listeners, and we're proud of that. But the reason the amount of data that we measure every day grows as it does is because, well, social media is a better place. It's becoming more commonplace, yes, but also the companies that are pushing product to us every day and selling products and serving us are making it a lot more interesting and fun to get involved in the discussion. So that just creates a cycle that we can take more data. It's still passive listening. It might be prompted by the marketing effort, but if it is, then that just tells us that this marketing campaign seems to be working. So it's a good question, and it's an important part of this cycle that's making marketing a much more real-time effort.
Where do you see the future of social media? What do you see it looking like, let's say, 5 years from now? Will it be more pervasive? Will it, die out? I mean, or will it morph? What do you see from your experiences?
It's hard to see social media slowing down right now. The growth we see continues to accelerate. At some point, Facebook already has close to 1 billion users, so you can't imagine it will grow forever at that rate. But it's a good time to be asking that question when we're hearing about them going public early next year. I think right now there's been a centralization, so people are spending so much of their time on Facebook and Twitter. Those are the primary places. There are other locations that are really good for specific types of things. You want to voice your opinion. You want to share common interests with people. There are other locations, and Google Plus is carving out their place right now. We think there will be other tools that will create new types of interest. Some are more private than others. There are social networks out there, like Experience Project, that you don't know who they are, but they're sharing their opinions more than ever because it's more private. So it'll continue to evolve, but I think it'll continue to grow. And the amount of data that's made available will also continue to grow. So I don't see that slowing down anytime soon.